Alright, so in this video we are going to talk about some elements that we already used before. That's going to be the UILabel, UIImage, and UITextField. So the reason why I wanted to make a separate video, I just wanted to make sure that I can show you guys how we work with these elements and where you can find everything. So yeah, so the first one we are going to talk about is UILabel. Let's drag it here on the canvas. Make it a little bit bigger, and let's give this a value of my second UILabel. Okay, so as you know, labels are used for displaying information, titles, maybe some text if you want to, and we can actually change a lot about these labels. So when we go to the right side to the attributes inspector, you can actually see a lot of information here, right? So we can change the color. Let's make it red in my case. In here we have the font. And we can actually give it custom fonts. When we click on custom, we can actually choose a font that we like. In this case, I'm going to take Noteworthy. I really love that one. We can actually decide how we want to align it. So leading, center, or trailing. We can decide how many lines a UILabel has. So for example, when we work on big screens, maybe it's going to be one line, but when we have like smaller screens, like an iPad for example, we need maybe 2 or 3 lines. So we can actually put the settings for that in here. So we have different baseline and line break options, auto shrink, highlight, shadows if you want to, and content mode. And in here we can actually change the background. So let's say I want to make the background yellow. We can actually give the UILabel a background as well. Really interesting. And we can also give it a tint. And really interesting. As you can see, the UILabel, it's really easy. But I just wanted to show you guys where you can find it. Maybe this is a little bit boring for you guys. But I think it's important that we know that stuff, right? Okay, so the next one is going to be UIImage. So we're going to search for an image. I'm going to drag it on here. Okay, so the UIImage, as you know, with the UIImage we actually display an image. Images that we add ourselves, or maybe images that are actually saved inside the application, like photos, or maybe if you make a picture. It's all possible to display that with the UIImage view. And when we go here on the left side, we can actually check for different kinds of images here, like let's say the lasso for example. These are actually images from the SF symbol application, and what SF symbols is, SF stands for San Francisco. That is actually Apple's own font, and they created a lot of images and a lot of icons that makes it easy for us to let our apps look like iOS applications. So that a lot of applications, you know the feeling when you have like a lot of applications, they all use different kinds of images or buttons and so on. When using SF symbols, we can actually build applications that look like others, and then you get like this feeling of unity in your own applications. And if you want to add an image, let's say I go here to Assets. I'm gonna drag on my handy dandy image here. I'm gonna select the image, and in here we can actually choose the image that we put in our assets folder. And yes, I'm Team Instinct on Pokemon Go, so I know people don't like it, but I do. So what is possible with the UIImage when we drag it here, and let's say we make it as big as the screen, right? The whole image, I want to make it as big as the screen. And in this case, I'm going to constrain it really fast. Oh. Constraints 0, 0, 0, and 0. Okay, so the UIImage, now it's a background. And let's say we want to give it another aspect, right? Because aspect fit is not the way to go. Let's say we click Scale to Fill. This looks terrible because now the whole image is stretched. what we also can do is aspect fill, and this way the image is gonna, or the application is gonna change the image to the aspect of the viewport, and in this case a viewport is the screen of the iPhone. Another one that we have is, for example, redraw, center, top. So with top you only display the top of the image, bottom you display the bottom, left, right, and so on. But I think we go for aspect fill because I really love my Zapdos and it looks really nice. And as you can see, we don't see the label anymore. And when we drag this one on top here, now we see it again. So in UIKit we actually have a view hierarchy, and everything that's on top is in the back and everything under there is on top. So it's a little bit all the way around. So in this case, this one is under the thumbnail, so it's on top of the thumbnail when we display it. Pretty cool. So another one is the text field. That's this one. Gonna drag it on here. So you guys remember this one? We actually already worked with this one, and it looks really nice. And what is also possible is actually a little bit same. We can give it like a placeholder text here, right? Let's give this a placeholder. What is your Pokemon Go theme? Okay, so we're gonna center this in here, and we're gonna give this a color of gray. Okay, and I wanted to have let's keep the normal border style here because we have different border styles, and my one is going to be instinct. So in this case I can't fill it out, but when we launch this in the simulator I could say instinct. Okay, but we also learned that when we go to the placeholder, and let's say we make this password and we add a password, we want to give it a secure entry, right? And that is something that we actually can do here. Like when we click here, we have a secure text entry, and this actually means that when you type something inside the text field, people actually can't see what you are typing. They only see like the little dots. Now we also have text input traits, and here you can actually specify the content type. So for example, name or given name, nickname, job title, and so on. In this case it's a password. Do we want capitalization, yes or no? Do we want correction? So for passwords, personally I would say no. We don't want it to correct because maybe it's gonna do something weird and then your password is false. So spell checking, no. And in here we have like key type. So keyboard type, in this case, let's say we only want numbers and punctuation, right? Or we want numbers, so we can actually click on number pad. And then when we, on the app, when you click in here, you get like a number pad and you can add your password. Pretty cool. So this was like a really small recap / introduction of these three elements. In the next video, we're actually gonna learn about UI table views. We can actually use a table view and Swift to display information. So like an array of strings or an array of integers or doubles and so on. We can actually display that inside a table view. So, and that's what the next video is gonna be about. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and let's go to the next video.